Hello everyone and welcome back to Tutorialronpa. This is Empty, and today in this 5th episode already, we are going to go over how to connect our daily life events. What do I mean by this? We already went over how to implement dialogue, but we need to know also how to connect that dialogue with each other so we can make a constant story to get the story flowing and making sure that every event connects with the next one. So that's what we're going to go over today. In order to do that, I've written a small script that I'm going to be using. It's divided in 3 different scenes. Each scene will be its own event, and we're going to program all 3 of those. To start, we will need to go into the code for our menu. That's the code we did in the 2nd episode. So let's go there and I'll show you what we have to do. Over here, in menu position 1, this is when the new game button is pressed. We have our pictures erased and we have a teleport. Before our teleport, we will need to add our switch. Switches are, think of them as like a light switch. It can be on or it can be off. There's no other choice. So we're going to use these switches to tell the game what scene we're currently in. So we're going to go into scene 1. This is going to start automatically as soon as we start the game. So we're going to activate the switch for scene 1. As you can see, scene 1 is now on, so we're ready to program scene 1. We're going to apply, okay, and we're going to normal town over here. Okay, now that we're here, we have to place the event. I personally like to place these in the corner, so that's what I'm going to do. Here we have the event from the menu, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make a new event. And I'll be calling this scene 1. To have it work like we want, we're going to add a condition. This is going to be condition switch, scene 1. And since we want it to activate automatically, we're going to set the trigger to parallel. And now it's time to program, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to implement the text and I'm going to show you the details, the things that need some more explanation other than the dialogue. So let's go do that. Okay, I started placing some text placeholders, but before I start adding the text itself, I'm going to dim the screen so that it's black. This is because I want to start with black text, and after that we will be adding a CG. So let's add that tint. We're going to go over here to the 2nd tab, we're going to tint screen. We take it down to black, and what I do is I make it 1 frame, so it's instant. As soon as the game begins, this is going to be black. So we're going to press OK, and then I'm adding text until the CG. I'm now ready to add that CG. So what do? We're going to add an image. So we're going to show picture 1. I don't have a CG, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the menu background. This is our CG now, and we're going to set opacity to 0. This makes it so that the image is here, but it's invisible. You can't see anything. So now we're going to move this picture. I know this can sound a bit counterintuitive, but we can move pictures and have it just change the opacity. So that's what we're doing. We're going to be fading in the CG in 1 second, and we're going to wait for completion. So you can now see it's a totally different story. Let's continue with the text. Okay, we've added some more of the text, and as you can see here, we're going to want to fade the CG out and show the map. So what I will do is, first off, we're moving the picture again, the CG picture, so picture 1, and we're bringing it down to opacity 0. Once again, 60 frames, but this time we're not waiting for completion. That is because we're going to want to do a simultaneous animation with the tint. So we have this, we're fading out our CG, and we're going to fade in our map. So we're going to go to tint screen, we're taking this to 0, 0, 0, and we're making it 60 frames, and this is where we wait for completion. This is what allows us to have multiple animations on screen at the same time. So this way, let's test it all the way from here to here. So as you can see, here we have our CG. And it's going to fade. We don't see the map because this is our testing mode, but I can guarantee you we will see the map once we actually play this. Let's continue with the rest of the text. Okay, our scene 1 text is over. Now what? What we have to do is prepare the game to go into scene 2. The way we do this is by changing the switches. We don't need scene 1 anymore, so we're going to turn that switch off. And we're going to turn a new switch for scene 2 on. Personally, I will always recommend switching the new switch on first and then switching the old one off. But usually it shouldn't affect your game. I just prefer to do it like this just in case. Now, scene 1 is over, so we can test this. Let's go into our game and let's try this. As you can see, it works. Now, time to set up scene 2. For scene 2, I'll be adding a character right about here. And it's the same thing. We name it scene 2. Then we turn on the condition for a switch, in this case, the scene 2 switch. And this time we're not setting the trigger to parallel because we want it to be activated when we interact with a character. So instead, I'm going to set up a random image for a character. And now we're ready for the text programming, so let me get that done. Scene 2 is done, so now we gotta prepare for scene 3. So we're doing the same exact thing with the switches. No changes, nothing. The same thing. So I'm going to turn on switch for scene 3, and then I'm going to turn off the switch for scene 2. Okay, while this is technically ready, we're going to have an issue, and that is that the character is going to disappear. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to make a new event page. The trigger, the condition for this new event page is going to be the switch for scene 3. And I'll be adding the same character image as before. So this way the character will not be interactable, but it will stay there. If we didn't do this, the character would just disappear. So now we're ready to go to scene 3. So let's go do that. We're going to go to our new map. In this case, I'm doing scene 3 here. I'm making it in a different map and it's going to trigger once you go in. Like I did for the first one, I'm going to place it in the corner since it's not interactable. It starts automatically, so let's do that. Naming it scene 3. Activating the condition switch for scene 3. And setting the trigger to parallel. I hope you're seeing the pattern. Everything is very repetitive. It's always the same concept, just with very small changes depending on if you want it to be an interactable event or an automatic event. So let's get our dialogue in. We are done with the text for scene 3. And if you've been following this tutorial, I'm pretty sure you can guess what we're going to do next. Indeed, we will be turning on a switch for scene 4, although we will not be adding a scene 4, this is the end, and we will be turning off the switch for scene 3. Now we're totally done with our programming, and this will flow nicely once we play. To have it look a bit better, I'm going to take a few minutes to add the text boxes we created in episode 3 just so you can read the text a bit more clearly. I will not be adding sprites this time, but you could also do that. Okay, now that that's ready, it's time for us to test our game. I'll walk you through it and you will see that the triggers work correctly because we're going to test it in a particular order to make sure that works. Let's go into the game. We're going to go into new game here. And this is already automatically starting. As you can see, this is our first scene. The CG is here. Then we have the text. Now the CG will fade out and the map fades in. And the character will appear once this is over. Now, before we talk to the character, we're going to go into the house. This way you can see we're here and scene 3 is not triggering because it's not activated yet, so it works properly. Let's go and talk to scene 2 over here. As you can see, the character is here, but if we try to interact with them again, it does not work. It doesn't matter how hard I press enter, we cannot talk to them. So let's go into the house and let's get scene 3 out of the way. As you can see, we're here and scene 3 actually activated this time. Now, once we get through the text, now that we've gotten through the text, let's leave and let's try to go back in to see if we can trigger scene 3 again. But as you can see, we properly turned off that switch, so it's not working and we're now ready for scene 4. Although we haven't implemented it yet, the game is set up for it. So this is it for this tutorial. As always, thank you so much for watching and I hope you learned something new from it. If you liked this video, please look forward to the next tutorials. We're almost done with daily life. I know a lot of you are looking forward to the deadly life and trial parts. We're almost there. The next episode is going to be all about free time events and how to program them. And after that, we will be moving on to the investigation section. So just one more episode of daily life before we move on to the part that everyone's looking forward to. So yeah, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!